I'm Dana Hiwankarn from Elmo, and I work with the Elmo Tribal Health Team. I work Reason to Live Native Suicide Prevention, and I'm going to, over the summer, do little short spots on gardening, and we put together a garden today for you, and I hope you enjoy it. Maybe you can find gardeners in your area. It's not too late to start something on your own, even if it's one pot of tomatoes. There's lots of resources out there, and get a hold of me or other people in your community or extension offices. They're great resources. There's lots of interest these days in gardening, so enjoy, and hopefully we'll grow some great food. Alright, so good afternoon, hopefully future gardeners. We're gonna do a video on just these ones, we're going to do a video on some basic gardening. So we're going to be doing some in some garden beds over here and some miscellaneous things we have around. So it's important to drill water holes for good drainage. Yeah. You can use anything. It's a coffee pot, a coffee bucket. Doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to spend a ton of money on things you have around. Yeah, this is an old, it's even got a crack in it, but it'll work. It'll serve our purpose.
You just need somebody with a drill.
Somebody with a drill, and then you have to cook them dinner later. All right, thank you, Adrian.
You're welcome.
So these guys right here are, if you want to get a close-up on those, this is cilantro, and it turns into coriander as it, so that you'll get two herbs out of this. So we're gonna leave these in here, but we're gonna pull all of the stuff up, and then I'll rake it up, make it nice and soft. We have two beds, so I'm checking this one out over here. This one shouldn't have any volunteers except for weeds, because this was I had squash in here, which we'll put in again. So the soil is a gardening potting soil. We got this from Peat Moss, Pico Peat Moss. And then for the containers I have over there, I went and bought just some potting soil from Ace. This was $5.99. I just was trying to use what I had, and I have compost at home that after I plant these, I'll come over and I'll put compost on top to help feed the plants. So what compost is your organic materials that have decomposed, but there's a lot of rich nutrients for your soil and your food to grow. So you want to make sure your soil has good drainage, is rich. You can what's it called? You can take any kind of dirt, soil, whatever you have, and amend it. I'm new at gardening. I don't know how to amend it too well yet, so I'm learning, but I'm hoping that people decide to try to garden and do good things and grow their own food, even if it's just one pot, to gain the confidence. So we'll be planting a couple different things today. So you just want to make sure you get your roots out. A lot of it you're gonna, it's pretty easy. You can pull. If you don't have the tools, use what you have. It doesn't have to be expensive. Your kids can do this. My kids can do this. Before I left my house this morning, I'm leaving that one because I know that that's a keeper, and I think this is a keeper too, because these have the first leaves, and then these are the secondary leaves. So if this was potted at home under lights, you'd watch for those. So this is coming up. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a cilantro. And if it's not, we'll pull it later. But you'll see there's, I think it's called vermiculite. Mm-hmm. Makes it nice and light and airy. So it'll be nice and pretty. And then, not today, but I'll put some mulch on it afterwards because I don't have any. I'm thinking that might be something too, so I'm going to leave it. And we'll decide what it is later, because it doesn't look like these weeds. Again, I'm a newbie. Third year gardening. I guess I'm not that new, but there's still a lot of unknowns for me. I use the tools at hand. My cell phone is my teacher. I Google, YouTube. I'm involved in a couple Facebook gardening groups, just to gain my knowledge and learn about stuff, learn about plants. So there's plants that can grow together and plants that can't grow together. One of the lessons we'll do today is in companion planting. So we'll be nice and ready to go. I don't want to disturb the soil too much. Just make it look nice and nice and ready to go. So both beds will look nice and good, and then we'll plant them. Water's necessary and important to all life, so we will be hauling water out here because we don't have a hose out here, but it works. We're right by the clinic in Elmo, so the kitchen's just kind of behind us. So that's one bed ready. And you can do this, like I said, in containers, little plots of ground. In your communities, there might be some community gardens you can help with. I know when you see this, you may not have the opportunity to start your own garden. You're welcome to come out and help me anytime. I have a personal garden at home. I started gardening because Brenda Bodner brought us 7 plants out here in Elmo, little starts. And I looked at them. They were kind of sickly. And what are these for? Who's doing these? And she said, oh, I just thought I'd bring them out for someone if they wanted a garden. And I looked around and realized she was really referring to someone because I was the only one that was in the room. So I am a caretaker by nature, and I didn't want to kill the plants and it'd be my fault that they died a sad, horrible death. So I tried, and me and a couple of our co-workers, these beds were here, so we dug these out. I didn't even know enough. I just dug the dirt that was in here and threw it away and got new dirt. Didn't need to do that. It's an unnecessary step, and it was kind of expensive. And we planted for the first year. So this bed had squash, and that one had, I think, the 7 other plants. We had peppers and cilantro and onions. Pepper, cilantro. I think it was like a salsa garden. Squash. Yeah. And then, of course, because I bought all that dirt, I had to go home and couldn't waste it. So that's how I started my gardening career. So that year I went from these 2 at work to 4 beds at home. So I had 6 beds and some containers. Last year during COVID and we were home, didn't do these ones, but I went to 11 garden beds and like 40 tomato containers. This year.
Oh my gosh. 40?
Yeah, they're just, I'll show you.
Did you guys eat all those?
Yeah, we froze them, canned them.
Nice.
We did preservation. Hopefully we'll do some food preservation this year. I'm feeling confident enough to teach that. So, see the bed's all nice and ready. You can feel this soil, it's really soft, you know, and it's, in Elmo we have a lot of clay. So if I were to grow in the ground, I'd have to really add some amendments to it, and I haven't learned how to do that yet. This is a learning process. I've never gardened in my life. I've managed to keep some office plants alive in my life and 1 lilac bush until 2 years ago. Again, I started that garden the year I was caring for my mom in hospice, so it kind of gave me something to do with my hands and be in the earth as I was preparing my mom to go on to her next journey. So there was a lot of healing that went on that year in the garden. So the beds are all ready, so we're gonna get them prepped and they're ready. If I had compost right now, I would put them in here and put them on the top. So what I'm gonna do is put it on the top after I plant. You may not get it filmed, but before tomorrow there'll be compost on top of this. Not much, and then maybe some mulch in the neck after the seedlings come up, or maybe today. All right.
All right.